But first, I read something today, quite weird really, reports of a court case involving Tasma Walton. She's the actress, wife of TV star and entrepreneur Rove McManus. And I thought, wow, I mean, absolute wow. Actually, I thought much more than that. I don't just normally do wow, wow, wow. But this is an ongoing court case, and I don't want anyone to accuse me of trying to influence the judge. We've been through that sort of stuff before. But I will say this. It's actually the kind of case we're going to get a lot more of if we do agree at a referendum this year to Labor's voice. It's kind of Aboriginal on the advisory parliament in our constitution. So, Tasma Walton. She says she's an Aborigine, although she's actually started identifying as a Bunurong only 4 or 5 years ago. But she's now part of a legal fight for one Bunurong group against another Aboriginal Land Council wanting native title over 13,000 square kilometres of Victoria's coast. Now, Walton yesterday even gave evidence in this case, saying, well, yes, I now realise I'm Aboriginal too, took a DNA test that suggests I may be, and I reckon I'm descended from a Bunurong woman who died about 160 years ago. The other side, other Aboriginal Land Council, it had an expert who told the court, well, look, even if that Aboriginal woman was Walton's ancestor, that woman wasn't actually Bunurong. She was from Tasmania, so, it doesn't count. Now, I won't go into all of that. Let the court decide. For me, though, this raises two issues, probably more if you think about it. I mean, really, what is an Aborigine? And how many of these fights are we going to get in the scramble for land and power and position on the voice, which we're told will then help to negotiate a treaty? So that's really a lot of money at stake, if we get that. So let me read out some of the reasons Walton gave the court for believing she really is Aboriginal. Like the stories of her Nan, the stories her Nan told her. Now, Walton told the court that when she was growing up, her grandmother and mother didn't actually identify as Aboriginal and avoided talking about their Aboriginality, allegedly because the oppressive laws in WA at the time. But later, her grandmother did start telling the stories that Walton believed were of traditional Bunurong origin. And she gave an example. She took her Nan to a beach on the Mornington Peninsula, one where Prime Minister Harold Holt he went missing there in 1967, presumed drowned. And she said her Nan said, well, Holt shouldn't have been swimming there, that it was mermaid country. Her belief was that mermaids took him. Aboriginal mermaids. Well, I won't comment. I'm just reading from court reports of a battle for Aboriginal control over a big slice of Victoria's coastline, now apparently involving stories about Aboriginal mermaids. I should add that we already have other battles over who really is Aboriginal, who's really a traditional owner, and involving this big question, how much can we rely on Aboriginal oral traditions? Unwritten, of course, unwritten languages. Now, Bruce Pascoe, for instance, he says he's Aboriginal. The former Minister for Indigenous Australians said he was Aboriginal, even though Pascoe doesn't have a single Aboriginal ancestor in his genealogical records. Does Bruce Pascoe qualify to sit on the voice, negotiating treaties? Or in Canberra right now, one Aboriginal tribe is furious with the ACT government for saying another tribe, that was the real traditional owner of Canberra. And last night, of course, I showed you two men in Perth arguing about which of them had the right to do the official smoking ceremony, while the embarrassed Deputy Premier hid her face. She was trying to open a new freeway there. Now, none of this would matter if we said race didn't matter. But that's the problem. We're going to get a lot more of these fights if we do vote for the voice and say that race matters so much that one race will now have more political rights than the rest, more power. It'll be game on then.